Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play the Journeyman Project 3 Legacy of Time. Welcome back to the Hell's Realm room, or the Butter room. Last time we alleviated 3 out of the 6 realms of Unenlightenment and got our green, yellow, and blue stones, which leads 3 more. And we're going to start with the one that I rather dislike the most. The Black Stone. This is the puzzle that really just really didn't work for me. Especially when I was younger. And made me not like the steam tunnels.
This looks like a shrine for the Black Buddha. Each realm of the Wheel of Life has an associated color. Black corresponds to the realm of Hells. That would make sense metaphorically, since these steam tunnels could represent the hot catacombs of Hell.
And they kinda do, except they're yellow. But the steam rooms, the steam vents, definitely look hellish.
Remember what the Lama told us about the Hells? The realm of sinful people who suffer hot and cold flashes? He said that the symbol for salvation was a purifying flame.
Right. And even the inscription told us about that as well. The channeling of energy.
That inscription on the wall said to channel our energy to find enlightenment. If the salvation symbol is a purifying fire, maybe the energy the inscription is talking about is heat. The Dab guard told us that he shunted heat away from this room into the greenhouse to keep his sculptures from melting. Maybe we can reverse the process and channel all the heat in the tunnels to this room. Since there's no thermostat around, we're going to have to do it the hard way.
So, screw over the Dab. I'm all for it.
We need to manipulate the tunnel doors so that there is a direct path for the heat to follow from the steam vents to the butter room. Since this Buddha is made from butter, if we sent the extra heat to this room, that Buddha statue should melt. That would explain the skeleton mural of the Buddha. It's hinting that enlightenment is inside its body.
Somewhere inside its body, but we'll figure that out when we come to it. Time to vandalize a perfectly good sculpture of butter.
The map of the steam tunnels shows 3 steam vents indicated by images of flame. It appears that the steam vent furthest west cannot be sealed. I'm guessing that we need to divert the energy from the other 2 steam vents towards the Hell Shrine room. By closing the correct series of doors, we could trap the heat of those 2 vents and melt the butter statue.
Alright. So what Arthur's meaning is that of the 3 steam vent rooms, we're only able to actually use 2 of them. Because the third one is specifically for the greenhouse, and based on the configuration, we're not actually able to divert all 3 to this room. But we don't actually have to. We just need at least 2. And this is the puzzle for the Black Stone. It's not one I particularly enjoy. The reason for that is because you're actually having to go around and configure all of these wheels and blocks to make sure that you have both this vent going ultimately to this room. There is only, and I think the reason I don't like it is that because there is only one solution that you're able to do. There may seem like to be that there are other solutions, but you'll get to a point where you'll just get stuck, or there is an issue where routes don't connect to one another or are blocked in one way or another. And that's kind of what makes me not like this puzzle, because it involves a lot of running around in circles just to move one wheel in the right direction. So, let's do this! Now, in terms of the wheels that we actually don't have to turn at all right now, we actually have a bunch of them. In fact, half of them we don't actually have to deal with at all, which is the X, the tree symbol, this room, and the room that we're currently in, we don't have to do anything with. That leaves only 4 rooms that we actually have to play around with. So let's start with actually this one over here that we actually haven't really explored. So let's head over there. Now, in order to get to this area at all, the simplest way is actually going down to this room here and moving the steam wheel over and manually and then heading up here. Now, you would think that there would at least be 2 solutions to doing this route. And even then, there actually is not, because this only has one correct solution, and that is moving this wheel over. It is true that there are 2 routes that lead to the Hell's Realm room, but because of the amount of rooms that are on this side leading to the left route than there are for the right route, that means that there's going to be a little bit of an issue down the line if you're trying to get the heat going to the right route. And that's where you're going to find your issue. So the left route is what we're going to actually have to be dealing with. So now that this one is here, and this route is actually blocked off here, we're able to now be able to move only these 3 rooms. So let's begin. Now, just because we're moving only 3 rooms now instead of 8, it may seem easier, but it's not, because we're going to be doing a bunch of circling around these 3 rooms in order to get it to the position that we need. Technically, we have one of the 3 rooms in the correct position, and that is the one we're currently in. But we need to get these 2 in position first before this one. Because if we leave it like this, we're going to have some issues in terms of the other 2. But for right now, it's in a good position for now. So we're actually going to head over past this steam vent room to the interlocking circles room. Alright, interlocking circles room. We just have to move this one over. And then this room is in the right place. And we don't have to deal with it anymore. But we need to head back in order to deal with the interlocking squares or diamonds room. And this involves moving this one back and forth. Because if we were just to simply go to the diamond room from the room that we just left, it would be blocked off. And that's where the difficulty rises. And it's not so much difficulty as it is just kind of a nuisance. That, hey, everything is going to work great and fine, and then all of a sudden, oh, wait, nope, it's not. And all of the thorough walking definitely grows tired on you, especially when you're doing this for more time than you really want to do. So now we just have to move this one over, blocking the path that we just took, and that means we have an open passageway here, which means that we can actually use that to go all the way around back to that same room that we keep going by, because now this room is in its right position along with this one, which means that we only have one more lever to pull. So now we're back in this room, and one last one to pull.
I'm detecting a definite shift in temperature. You did it, Gage!
We did it! And the music changes into something a lot more menacing now. But yes, if you're not seeing what kind of route we have just created here, what we've done is that starting from this vent, we have the heat traveling to the left because it's being blocked off on the right. It's traveling left, combining with this one, so we have two heat vents combined. And it's going up this route to the interlocking circles, to the diamonds, to the crosses over here, up to the left route, and up into the Hell's Realm. So now we just have to follow the route as I've just shown, and back to the Hell's Room and see what kind of damage we have now done. Because yay for us, look at what we did. Alright.
You did it, Gage! That butter statue didn't stand a chance against your hot hand. Now let's wade through this stuff and find butter-coated enlightenment.
Yeah, alright. Looks like the Dob's Better Butter Buddha is now a big blob. It's very contained, though. That is just... oh, so much waste of butter. We better churn more. I just gotta churn more. At least do the Dob a favor before he comes wondering what the hell happened down here. Haha, hell.
There's a black stone in that gooey mess. It's right in the cup.
Exactly. And now we have finally gotten the most annoying stone of the 6, the black stone. Is it worth it? I think so, because the black stone is actually the prettiest out of all of them. Look at all the colors within it. But yes, that has now been done, and what I'm going to do, actually, before we continue on, is set these back to what they are supposed to be, and then I'm going to head over to the next Buddha that we're going to take care of. So I'll see you there. We only have 2 Buddhas left, and next step is the Assurus realm, the red Buddha.
This must be the shrine of the Assurus realm. According to the Lama, the symbol of salvation is a sword.
A flaming sword, to be exact.
It might not be a coincidence that the Genghis Khan of the Great Horde is near the Assurus shrine. He's meditating in his tent while his sword sits behind him. If we could find a way to sneak around him somehow, we might be able to take his sword and replace it with this turnip.
Brilliant.
Why don't we try to sneak under him? Gage, there is a steam grate in his room. That means there is a tunnel under his tent. With some stealth, we may be able to sneak up through the grate and swipe his sword. Okay, here's the plan. We sneak up from under him, climbing through the steam tunnel grate, posing as fresh towels. While he's wiping off with you in the locker room, I'll grab the sword.
The pilgrim looks like he's wearing fresh towels, but yes, he is correct. There is the sword, and there's the grate. If you look back at the tunnel map, you might notice this last exit that we actually haven't looked at, and this is exactly where it goes. It's a bit confusing, actually, because it's showing that the exit is on the right of the temple, when it's technically on the left. But yes, this is the last exit that we have yet to explore, and it's the one we have to actually go to. So, I will see you all at the right under Genghis Khan's tent. Boy, will he be in for a surprise. Alright. Last exit of the steam tunnels goes right into Khan's tent. Now, of course, I can't be Khan at this point, so I might as well be someone else. Someone he hasn't punched. He's probably gonna punch the llama at this point because he's not getting the answers. I don't care how much Khan respects the llama, that is gonna run out.
Quickly, Gage, take the sword. If you don't hurry, you may feel a slight stabbing sensation.
Stabbing? But the sword is right over here.
Con!
Damn, okay. Yeah, alright, let's not get punched again. Maybe the Pilgrim is more suited for this. He might be more quiet, I don't know. Let's pick up that sword and then quickly leave.
With all this steam, it's no wonder the Khan has such smooth skin.
Getting out. Never have enough time. Excellent. And now we have acquired a third row for our inventory, but we have also acquired his sword. It's a bloodstained sword. The sword is of Tibetan designs based on the scabbard. But if we need a blade of a warrior, this is the best that we're gonna get, actually. But does this mean we're actually going to be destroying a relic and also screwing up his when he returns to his campaign? It's like, I don't have my sword anymore. Oh well. What could happen when we put the sword on the Buddha? Hey man, got your sword. It's just gonna be a couple feet over here in this Buddha's hand. No worries. Sorry. I'm just gonna take my stone and run. Yeah, okay. I just destroyed Genghis Khan's sword. No big deal. No big deal whatsoever. Well, there we go. One item for another. The red stone. It's a nice red anyways. And that means we have 5 out of the 6. So, what does that mean? Well, it actually means that we have one last one to deal with. The last shrine for the God's Realm. And as luck would have it, it's at the temple. What are the odds of that? Don't answer that. So here we are. The last one, the God's Realm. According to the Llama, we need music in order to get the white stone from it. I never actually commented on the position of this Buddha because I always find it really hysterical over its ear going like, "What? I can't hear you. Big up." But I completely neglected over here. Because this is the white Buddha puzzle.
6 of those 8 symbols represent the syllables of the holy mantra. Om Mani Padme Hum, that we saw earlier by the yaks. I'm not exactly sure what the other 2 symbols represent.
It's a good question.
Ram,
and this one.
Pri.
Sure, okay.
The inscription on the white statue refers to the jewel in the lotus from the holy mantra. That must be what the statue is listening for.
Well, each of the syllables in the holy mantra have to do with each of the realms, so makes sense.
Spin the wheels to play the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum. The other 2 syllable wheels must have been put there for a laugh. That's a good one.
Alright, so we have the 6, but then we also have Ram and Pri. Let's see how these sound.
Ram.
Intriguing. Alright, how about this one? Ari.
When did Andy Warhol start designing Tibetan Campbell soup jukeboxes? Each of those symbols on the prayer wheel represents a distinct acoustic syllable.
Yeah, alright. So, let me see if I remember how the mantra goes. If you're ever stuck with how the mantra goes, Arthur does say it, but it's still down here if you're ever certain about the order, if you're remembering what the symbols look like.
Om Mani Padme Hum.
There we go. And there's also a bunch of comments if you're not remembering the order of the mantra in your head by just generic saying.
Graffiti in Shangri-La? Those darn punk monk vandals have struck again.
Yeah, it's all drippy and...
Each syllable in the mantra is important. Om begins and ends all meditation. It is said to be the perfect sound of the universe. But not when you say it like this. Oh my lady!
A Jewish Buddhist? I'll let you figure that out in your head.
Hum, the last syllable of the Jewel mantra, is an angry syllable, meant to be a spiritual war cry against vice. Om Mani Padme Hum. Now everybody! Om Mani Padme Hum. Next verse, same as the first. Om Mani Padme Hum. And then it just goes on and on and on like that.
If in any case you are ever able to forget this mantra after Arthur says it in the ways that he does, I commend you.
Dun, 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 dun. Down, 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 down. Om Mani Padme Hum. Life goes on, brah. La 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 la. Life goes on. It's the Beatles. They were kind of big. Om Mani Padme Hum. Now backwards. Hum me padme ma or mix backwards. Eat pork.
So now with that little concert out of the way, let's play the mantra. Alright, let's start. Oh my god, that hurts the ears! Ooh, okay. Which syllable is this? Pod?
Pod.
Right, okay. That's not pod at all.
It appears this ferrous cylindrical instrument has suffered from prolonged exposure to structure-stressful oxidizing agents. Gage, it's rusty.
Yeah, no kidding.
Get the oil can. Oil can.
Where to? You get the oil can.
If you think it's important to play that note, we need to grease the wheel, so to speak. I'll just use my magical universal solvent. Gage, did you bring the WD-40?
Really? Important?
Om Mani Padme Hum.
You know this mantra more than I do, Arthur, with your concert mantra business. So you know it's important.
The only thing I can think of that might oil up this wheel is oil. I don't remember seeing any yak oil salesmen, but the olive shop in Atlantis may have some oil sitting around. Let's search that shop thoroughly.
It does. And we have a container for it now.
I can't believe it's not buttered. Rather, I believe that the butter we saw earlier in the steam tunnels would adequately lubricate this rusty wheel.
Alright, this is interesting now. Arthur just gave us hints for 2 different solutions to this puzzle. We could get oil, or we could get butter. Let's get both, shall we? We certainly have the pitcher and the bowl. And we can just go ahead and use the pitcher in order to get some oil out of the olive oil vendor's shop in Atlantis. So let's do that. Ah, precious oil. There's me olive oil. Let's use the pitcher for this one. And just scoop up some stuff, because it's bottle your own here. Still doesn't look very pleasing, but, well, what are you gonna do? Pitcher of oil. Excellent. However, we might as well also go pick up the butter, because, well, Arthur did mention it, which I think I remember where it actually is, so I'll just jump over to the Himalayas in order to pick that up. I do have a wonderful friend in the butter churner, but over by the schematic for the butter Buddha, there's actually something we were able to pick up. And here's something that I just have too much excitement for, because when you pick it up, it actually makes more light appear because the heat from the flames, the tiny little flames, are actually lighter, stronger, when this isn't on top of it. And that is just an attention to detail. And I love it. But what have we actually picked up here? We have picked up the butter boiler. So we have melted yak butter on top of olive oil. Now all we have to do is head back all the way to the white Buddha and the puzzle, and then use one of the two that we just have now. Alright, so we have our two options here. We have our oil, and we have our butter. Why not use both? Double lubrication for you. And that means that if we spin this... Excellent. Alright, now we can continue on with playing the mantra from Miss I Can't Hear You, Buddha. Excellent. Now the mantra is played and the white stone is ours.
The white Buddha in the temple has an outstretched hand as if he's waiting for something to be placed there. Maybe something round and white that looks like the round white stone in your inventory.
Right. Alright then. But yes, we have our nice glossy white stone. And there's really nowhere else to go in this time zone because we have all 6 stones from each of the shrines, which means that we have alleviated suffering from all of the wheel of life. So we can continue on into the temple and see what we are able to do, starting with the white Buddha down below. Alright, let's see what this white Buddha has in store for us. What secrets do you hold in your loot? White stone for the white Buddha, coming right up. Oh my. Okay.
I think I understand the gimmick here. Once you give the object of salvation to a shrine, you are given a stone of enlightenment. You transcend the realm once you place the stone in the hands of the same colored Buddha inside the temple.
And so stairs rise out of the wheel of life on the floor. This is interesting design for a temple. Also has inscriptions on it.
The inscriptions speak of the path of Siddha Biwawa. Denied nirvana by pride, the one Siddha Biwawa found himself in the realm of the gods, complacent in their heavenly heights. Only with the Buddha's song-filled voice did he escape into the next realm, the battlefields of the Asurus Titans.
Alright then, so from the human realm he went to the gods realm, got out of there, and moved on up. And he moved on up to the Asurus realm, which has a red Buddha, and it has the sword.
That red statue is holding a sword. That must be the next object we need to offer to the Buddha.
Well, we offered Genghis Khan's sword to the red Buddha, and thus we were given the red stone. Here you go. The rising of the stairs is something that just kind of made me a little bit tense when I was younger. Especially with the accompanying music at this point, I'm feeling that there was a lot of importance to this part of the area. And at this point of the game, there's a lot of importance.
The Titans know nothing more than to fight the gods for their glittering realm and fight amongst themselves. Biwawa found himself caught within the frenzy, until he followed the light of Buddha's flaming sword. The Titans cowered before it as he escaped and entered the kingdom of animals.
It's like Buddha. Hey Buddha, I have a flaming sword. Biwawa, follow me! And follow him he did! To the animal realm in the green Buddha.
The green statue is holding a book. From the pattern I saw, we need to give the corresponding green Buddha outside the monastery a book and return with the green stone.
And that's exactly what we did. We got the Book of Knowledge, and the green stone was ours. Now those are really high call, like, it's crazy enough that this temple is already so ornate and huge on the inside, reaching up into the sky, but imagine below the kind of mechanisms that are down there, especially when we get higher and higher. These stairs go really down below into the side of the mountain.
In his new form, he hunted with animal cunning, forgetting all of Buddha's teachings. But something inside him stirred when Buddha appeared before him with the Book of Knowledge, and he learned once more. He escaped, but found himself within the bowels of hell.
Not really a great place to be. But hey, what can you do? Other than look over the edge.
Biwawa is an interesting name for a Siddha. It roughly means bad man. I suppose the name foreshadowed his ultimate indiscretion with pride. Here's another tale I heard of Biwawa. Well, he's bad, a Biwawa, a baddest man in Shangri-La, wiser than an Obi-Wan, a meaner than a Genghis Khan.
Fantastic. Thanks, Arthur. With that's out of the way, let's take a look at our nice black Buddha friend. Holding fire.
A black statue. This Buddha seems to be holding fire. We need to find the corresponding black statue and give it the object of salvation. Somehow fire is the key.
And it has been.
There are images of flame on the steam tunnel map. The Black Buddha is holding fire. Maybe the answer is in the tunnels.
And so it was. Not necessarily literally, but we did swath the Butter Buddha down there with flame, giving us the Black Stone. Now we're learning a lot about the Siddha in terms of his story and his journey at this point. And right now, as we're going through pretty much the true path, we might as well learn a little bit more about what exactly a Siddha is, because it's kind of a hard to nail down subject. Difficult to describe. As well as, in terms of nirvana, what exactly is nirvana?
Biwawa heard the howls of the damned echoing the very hatred they were punished for. Terrible flame licked all around him by day. By night he shivered in the hells of cold. Then the Buddha showed him the purifying fire that cleansed his sin, sending him traveling again to the realm of Pratis.
From hell comes another hell. The hell of the senses. Not only a hell of the senses, but a hell of greed, materialism. Yellow.
That yellow statue is holding a fruit. That must be the next object we need.
So we gathered the fruit from the wishing tree and offered it to the Pratis, and so we're given the Yellowstone. They really crush that stone inside of their hand, just like, yes, and so it's no more. It's probably only ever one stone. Actually, that's an interesting question. Imul always offers to the Pratis shrine. Does a yellow stone always pop up for it? How many yellow stones does he probably have in like the back room that he's always has, or does he just reload the Buddha with it? I'm getting a little bit too technical here, aren't I?
Then he found himself among the Pratis, tortured creatures tantalized by all things material. Biwawa had never felt such hunger until the Buddha descended again and let him taste the spiritual fruit. And Biwawa felt want no more. Buddha finally bade him to return to the human realm.
You think there'd be some railings on this thing, but nope. Always gotta be careful. Which leads us all the way up here. We can actually see the start of the staircase now, which means that we've circled back to the final realm. The human realm.
The blue Buddha is holding a bowl. This must be the sixth and last object of salvation.
The human realm teaching about humility towards others and also helping others. We got a alms bowl from our friend Padros back in Atlantis, gave it to the blue Buddha, and got the blue stone out of it. And the last stone. And so we come to the end of the staircase. Really, really long staircase, and possibly the end of Biwawa's story.
Humbly, Biwawa would have to begin the path anew to regain his former peace. He would need to overcome the vice of pride, the pride that made him think that he was better than others. So his atonement would only end by helping another. Then, the Siddha could be again.
That doesn't necessarily mean that it's done it yet, or Biwawa has done it yet. What's up top here? Magic. Magic's up here. And also the source of the light that was coming off from the top of this thing. What we're looking for, maybe? Although it's producing a lot of light. These things I'm not able to make much sense out of them, how they're able to be. But, well, if anything, these are supposed to be like the the petals of a lotus. Climbing up the lotus to get up to the top of this. And you were wondering where these were in Shangri-La. Well, finally let's hear about the story from this time zone compared to the other two. More murals.
There are inscriptions that surround the images of this mural. I'll translate as closely as I can. The infinite Buddha came to our monastery long ago with the knowledge of 3 secrets: life, time, and matter. He spoke of the true path, a way to live by his virtues so that we could also share in his perfection. And he taught the Siddhas of matter, that everything in the universe was composed of one energy that could be perceived, understood, and controlled.
The most complete story out of the 3. We're not able to actually look at this any further, we're just going to zoom out, but at least Arthur has something more to say about this.
From these writings, it's apparent that the Sosikwi entrusted the power of transmutation with the monks of this monastery. Perhaps the Sosikwi felt that these monks had the focus and the maturity to handle such power.
Makes sense, but sure, you give the monks the power over matter, that amount of focus. You give the shamans of El Dorado the power over seeing time. And then Atlantis, you give the Templars the power over life.
The other 2 symbols represent time and life. The Sosikwi must have trusted the people of Atlantis and El Dorado with those powers for a purpose.
Alright, so there's that. But you know what? In all honesty, I'm a bit of a lefty when it comes to going up these stairs, and you're able to go up both sides, so I might as well go up the left side this time. And there's another mural. Intriguing.
This mural must be displaying the Siddhas, using their power over the elements to move through mountains and transmute matter. Come to think of it, I swear I've seen that man in the mural before. Do you think that Michael Jackson is really that old?
I guess this guy really likes his joke because he has like a snickering look on his face while he's eating. Alright. Well, here is what that other mural was showing. The power over matter. Our pyramid-shaped symbol, legacy. What is he doing with it?
That mural shows the Siddha transforming the lotus into another form. Nice. Fine. More work. Now watch Arthur transform from simply annoyed to pretty bloody angry. I am not shouting!
Great. Okay, so, yeah, power over matter. Makes sense that in order to protect that power, or at least the source of it, you would change it into something else. And that power is this.
My instincts say that this lotus is the artifact we're looking for, but previous experience says that this thing should be pyramid-shaped.
Yeah.
Wait, if this is the artifact we're looking for, shouldn't it be shaped like a pyramid? Shouldn't we have found it earlier? Shouldn't you have been smarter or taller or just plain better? And damn it, Gage, shouldn't we be married by now? I mean, people are starting to talk. Oh yeah, sorry, right. Anyway, the artifact is the wrong shape.
Yeah, wrong time, wrong place. When everything is done, then we'll discuss this. But this is what we're here for. Shiny, not so shiny, ball of light. It's not exactly what we're here for, but it's the closest thing. Simply known as the Lotus. If anything, this is supposed to be the Siddha's secret that Khan is looking for. It even has the colors of all of the stones inside of the relic. The precious jewels. Precious jewels. And apparently alien technology. Alright, we have this. But if you remember from the El Dorado temple, there's also something else that we need to look at. I have a feeling these eyes are of some sort of importance.
The Great Sammy's ghost. That third eye on the wall looks like it's made of glass, not candy, man. Almost as if it's a lens. Why don't you take a peek, cat? I can't stop talking like this.
Okay. The third eye. What does it see? Because these ones don't see anything. Okay. The Pilgrim. Something was off about him, but what does this mean?
For some reason, the eye lens was exactly aligned to look across the ravine and see the Pilgrim.
The Pilgrim certainly knew a lot about what we were doing, and the way he addressed us was odd. Especially when I went through 2 disguises and he didn't say anything differently compared to other people. Alright. Let's put all of these pieces together.
Gage, it all makes sense. The Pilgrim on the road is the Sita. He's finally returned to the human realm after escaping all the other realms. He must have the power to transform this Lotus for us. Let's cross the ravine and ask him to help us. Oh, you already figured that out, huh? Sure, Gage.
The Sita Bawawa returning to the human realm. No wonder the story on the temple wasn't finished, because it isn't. He still has to alleviate his suffering here by helping another, and learning humility because of his power. Alright then. So that means it's time to go all the way back down this temple. You know, the one thing I've actually probably would have looked forward to in this place is some sort of confrontation afterwards about, from Genghis Khan. But he's just still in his tent, because we've kind of just revealed everything to him, if he ever came in here, except when we're coming down, the stairs also go down. But if we go back up, the stairs also reappear. So, yeah, it's like we've just kind of went past all of the traps in terms of like a standard archaeological, like, movie or media form. If we move over here, all of the stairs are gone. In fact, you're kind of not able to see it at this point, but if I actually took a little bit more time in looking down, you kind of were able to see the lines for where the stairs were, even before I gave the white stone to the white Buddha. But anyway, we got what we came for from the temple. Somehow it's still producing light for some reason, even though we took the Lotus, but oh well. There's a lot of reflective stuff up there anyways. And that means our journeys through this temple are done. Except Arthur has something to say for some reason.
The architecture in this building is beautiful. It appears to be a temple of worship or meditation.
I don't know why Arthur says this now of all times, because he should say this the first time you're coming into the temple, but you know what, whatever, as long as he actually says it. We have the Lotus, which I guess this means that we actually completed the Wheel of Life ourselves. One last thing left to do here, and that's head back to the Pilgrim. Hello, Sita. Let's talk to him as Genghis Khan.
You have nearly completed the true path. Now, for the final step, you must shed all the trappings and illusions that surround you.
We haven't yet completed the true path. One last test from the Sita himself. Now, as you can see, I haven't talked to Genghis Khan at all, or the Pilgrim at all, as Shenghis Man. Now you see, I haven't actually talked to the Pilgrim at all as Genghis Khan, and we still have the same dialogue choices, but now we're able to give the Lotus to him. You better be able to change it.
I have finished the path. I have the artifact. Can you change it to the proper form?
I cannot transform this into its final form until you finish the path. To finish the path, you must be true to yourself. To be true to yourself, you must be true to others. Shrouding oneself in illusions deludes others and leads you off the path.
What is he getting at?
He wants you to shed all the trappings that surround you. Whoa, Gage! Keep your shirt on. We'll figure this out before it comes to that.
Yeah, I don't think undressing myself is gonna work. Especially with our chameleon suit on. Wait a minute.
This may sound crazy, but I have a feeling that the Sita knows who you really are. Why else would he speak to us that way? It's as if he's known all along that we're looking for something. If I'm right, he's asking you to drop your chameleon guise.
The way he speaks to us is unlike anybody else we have ever spoken to in the time zones. No matter who you speak to him as, whether it's Genghis Khan, Gardner, Lama, or the Dob, he will speak to you in the same way like he's speaking to one person. When I got to this point the first time I ever played this game, there was a lot of weight to what was being said here. And what the game was asking me to do. It pretty much just, and especially now, it kind of just goes completely full circle in terms of the chameleon system. Turns it on its head for once in order to complete the last final puzzle. And this is why I feel like Shangri-La is supposed to be the final time zone that you do. Because of this one last action you have to do before you're able to complete it and bring back the final legacy piece. And that is something that you haven't been able to do until now. Which is open your chameleon guys right in front of a person looking straight at you. You were able to do this. You were able to change into whatever you wish right in front of him because it doesn't matter to him. It makes me think like he's more than just the Sita, but in terms of like what a Sita is and the power that it has behind him and what he's striving for, it makes a little bit more sense than compared to just a regular person. Heck, we can even be himself. But what he's asking from us is to use the one guise that is not really that used that often. Our chameleon suit. Who we really are. And from there, we can give him the Lotus and we get the final legacy piece. But before I do that, I'm just going to say right now that I will see you next time, everyone, because once we get the Lotus to him, we're going to get the legacy piece and we're going to be jumping back straight to the TSA. And from there, we're done with all of the time zones. Atlantis, El Dorado, and finally Shangri-La. What is going to happen when we bring all three pieces of the legacy back? Who knows? But I will see you next time, everyone. Because it's time for the finale.
I've dropped my guise and have completed the path. Can you transform this for me?
You have completed the path, traveler. You are indeed worthy. You have journeyed far, traveler, and you have completed the path by honoring the ancient virtues. And you have saved my soul by allowing me to help another. I am on a new path now. I am eternally grateful. I wish you peace, traveler, and success.